Hi guys, so we're very excited about the newly launched Moho 14. This is like what we have been waiting for, and Moho came and met almost all of our expectations. Almost everything that was promised by the Lost Marble team was delivered. So first of all, when you download Moho and you get into the program, just by merely looking at the interface, you find out that a lot of things has been added to these programs. There has been a lot of improvement and a lot of innovation. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be going over a few of the newly added functions that are very important to me and to my workflow. Alright, some of the things that have been added that are very useful for me. So I'm going to be going through a few of them. Alright, so let's get into Moho. So once you open up Moho, first of all, you find out that there's already a lot of changes made to the program.
Click here to subscribe.
First, by looking at the bounding box, you can see that there's already some changes made to this bounding box. The initial one kind of looked distracting, but this one looks just perfect. Okay, so looking at the interface, let's come down to the timeline. You can see that there are a lot of things. Initially, we used to have these functions, these tools here, a little bit more bigger, but now they are more compact and more of in their thumbnail, more of like in a thumbnail form. Okay guys, so one of the most important tools, I think to me that is one of the most important additions to Moho is this tool here called push left and push right. Okay, so what this thing does is that it can enable you to add spaces in between your keyframes. You can add spaces in between your keyframes, or you can compress the spaces in between your keyframe. This is very useful because prior to now, how we used to do this is that we have to go all the way to highlight all the keyframes that we have. Peradventure, I want to add this compress the space between these keyframes. I'll have to highlight all the keyframes to the left, and it's quite tedious, especially if you have a lot of keyframes. So part of what you could do sometimes is to compress the magnification of your timeline so that you can see all your keyframes either to the left or to the right, and then you have to select all of them and compress or expand them. So but right now you can easily add spaces in between your keyframes. Let's say for example I want to add a space in between these two keyframes. I could just put my CTI, my current time indicator, to the particular point where I want it, and then I could click the push to the left or push to the right. You can see spaces have been added in between. Alright, and if I want to compress the space in between two keyframes, I could just put my keyframe, put my CTI at the middle, and then click this button. And then you can see I'm compressing the space between each keyframe, and this is very helpful, especially when you have tons of keyframes and you want to either add a space or to remove the space in between the keyframes. Right? So guys, the next thing that comes very handy is the newly added shape masking tool, more like a shape masking tool or a shape merge tool. So I'm going to demonstrate that using these few shapes that I've created here. These are just 3 random shapes that I've created. So we're going to see how we could merge shapes in Moho. Prior to now, how I used to do this is that I usually export my vector files out of Moho and then use tools like Adobe Illustrator to merge my shapes and then import them back into Moho as an SVG file. Right? So, but now you have it all inside of Moho. So to do this, I could select. I'm going to overlap these shapes. 3 of them. I'm going to overlap them.
Click here to subscribe.
Okay, so to do this, I'm going to use my select shape tool to select the shapes that I want to merge. Holding down my shift, I could select multiple shapes, and then I'll simply click my merge. So guys, as you can see, this has been combined into one vector shape. Okay, so this is very handy. Prior to now, I used to do this with Adobe Illustrator, but now we have it right inside of Moho. Okay, so I'm going to undo. We also get the option to blend shapes. Okay, this is similar to masking, but this time we are masking shapes instead of masking layers. Previously, what we had was the ability to mask layers, but now we have the ability to also do some form of masking for shapes. So to do this, I'm just going to select the shape and then I'll click either to add. So it's going to be added to the shape that is directly beneath it. Right, so now we have the rectangle directly beneath this yellow shape. That's why it has merged to with this. So I can also click like the blending, so we can see how the blending goes. Okay, and so I'm going to select this, and then I'll remove the blend. Alright, so we're going to subtract. Always make sure that you don't have any blending in the previous shapes so that the new blend can work. So we're going to subtract these two. So I will click subtract. As you can see, this shape has been subtracted. This shape has been subtracted from this shape. So let me bring this down so we can see it better. So I'm going to use my transform point tool. As you can see, this is kind of like a mask for this particular shape. So let me bring this out so we can see it. So this is more like a mask for this particular shape. Okay, so there's been a blending between those two shapes. So there's countless things that we can do using this newly added function in Moho. Alright, so guys, moving on, the last thing I want to talk about is prior to now, there was really no way for us to preview an effect inside of Moho except where we first render our animation or preview the animation. Okay, so for example, if I want to like see add some outline to this character, I would first have to add it, then either preview my character or render it out. But right now in Moho, we can do all of those things and see it happening live in our canvas. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate that. Firstly, you can see that
Click here to subscribe.
the blending modes have been added as an option by just right-clicking the layer. So when I make a right click, I can easily access my blending option here, blend mode option. So right now you can see, guys, as I'm scrolling through my blending options, I can preview it right here inside of my canvas without having to export or render or preview. Okay, so we can see a live preview of the blending options. Okay, and also if I should double click and come here, I can quickly add an outline to my character and I'll see it previewed live on my canvas. So this is super helpful, guys, especially if you're working with a lot of effects. Alright, so you can see it being previewed right here on your canvas. Okay, so I'm going to also try to colorize my character. You can see it's previewed live here. So that's it, guys. All the effects can be previewed live inside of Moho, and this is very much handy. Okay, so finally let me also add a drop shadow. You can see the drop shadow is also being highlighted live on our canvas. Alright, you can see the drop shadow is live. You can change the direction and do so many other things. So this is very helpful, especially if you're working with a lot of effects. You'll be able to see it being previewed live on your right here on your canvas. You don't have to export before you see the effects taking place. Right, so these are quite a lot of new things that's been added into Moho. Time will fail me to be able to go over them individually, but guys, you can download Moho and try it out for yourself. You can download the free trial and look at these things for yourself. So you can download Moho using the link right in the description to see some of these things for yourself. And also don't forget to download my character pack, which is perfectly compatible with Moho 14. You can download it using the link in the description. So that will be all for now, guys. Go and download and enjoy Moho for yourself.